Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We're on Love 99.5 FM. Affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We're on Radio Justice in Tamale, Fafa Radio in Joje, Jatai FM in Karaga, and Dreams FM in Bogatanga. We're on Twitter Spaces, we're on Facebook, and my Joy Online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol. Your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tanks. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. This afternoon, 7 miners who were part of scores of illegal miners trapped in a shaft belonging to Anglo Gold's Obuasi mines arrested by the police as Anglo Gold Ashanti refutes claims it has locked up all entry and exit points. No,
baby, I have West in our baby.
Safe driving saves lives. Drive safe.
Also, 16 persons confirmed dead with 40 injured in a gory accident at Gomwa Oyereko on the Kaswa Cape Coast Highway in the central region.
About the crash on the mid side. It is outside one of the Nippon one of the Condemomuna.
They are just two cars, but the impact was heavy.
We'll take you live there. Also this afternoon, failed NDC parliamentary aspirant Professor Michael Kwesa-White convicted of contempt by the Supreme Court for his recent comments on social media. We have details as he's cautioned and discharged. In sports,
Chris Hughting has named Ghana's squad for next month's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Madagascar. We'll tell you who made it and who missed out.
And also Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia enters NPP presidential race officially as members of his camp picked nomination forms for him today.
Well, we came here to pick the forms for Dr. Bawumia. That assignment has been completed. This is a private assignment.
We have details as energy analyst Kojo Poku becomes 7th candidate to also pick his forms, and later how a comedian's decision to produce a skit video ended up as a hit song with the possibility of featuring Shatawale.
I felt like I was doing a skit, something that I know, just to laugh. Charlie, we move on to the another one. When I did the pressure that was coming, say you release it as a song. Yeah, release that song. Jump.
We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. In our very first story, 7 illegal miners who formed part of a larger group of Galamsey operators who unlawfully entered into a mining shaft belonging to Anglo Gold Ashanti have been arrested by the police. The Obuasi East District Assembly is currently working to secure the retrieval of the other scores of illegal miners currently trapped in the mining shaft. We're told about 200 of them. The miners unlawfully entered the underground shaft in search of gold deposits, but are unable to come out after all illegal exits routes were closed. One of the illegal miners has been speaking to us, but first let me get onto the phone line now and bring in the District Chief Executive of your Obuasi East District Assembly, Madam Faustina Emisa. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Midday News. So from your briefing, what exactly is the situation?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yesterday, late afternoon, around 2 p.m., I had a phone call from an unknown number that some illegal miners have been trapped underground. So I asked them to come to the office and lodge their complaint well. In about 30 minutes time, they came. There were about 20 of them. They came to explain that, yes, the illegal miners passed through their own channels to underground. But on their way coming back, where they passed through to the underground had been closed. But the Anglo Gold Ashanti had opened their main legal route for them to come out. But for the fear that when they come, they will be arrested, so they are refusing to come out. So I asked them to tell them to come out and then also do official complaint at AGA Security Office, and that will also call stakeholders and discuss with them. So they left. So I engaged the division commander, AGA Security Manager, upon engagement. In the evening, about 7 of them came out. And then this morning, too, a number of them have come out. So we are still waiting for the rest to come.
From the last count, at least, we know that 7 of them came out and they've been arrested. You say a number more have come out from your last check and the count. How many exactly have you been able to rescue from this?
I wouldn't say rescue because they came themselves. They were not rescued. They came out. So yesterday in the evening, 7 of them came out. One was able to escape. 6 were arrested to the police station. This morning, a number which I am not sure of, and I don't want to misquote, have also come out. But and as I speak with you, I am almost at the scene to find out what is happening at the moment.
And do we know how many exactly are in there?
Exactly, no, because even those who complained to me were not sure of the number.
So then, I know you're on your way to the scene, like you said. What exactly are we intending to do about the situation? Because these are lives also.
Yes, that is why we are going there. I am going with my divisional commander. When we get there, then we see the way forward.
But I'm sure you've been interacting with Ashanti Gold also. What indication have they given you so far about the situation?
They are there. This morning, they brought those who came out this morning. They brought them to the police, and that as I am on my way, if I get there, I'll meet them so that we see the way forward.
Well, they've been in there from the indication you're giving us since yesterday. Do we know if they are all safe, alive, and everything?
Excuse me, please.
I'm asking that they've been trapped in there since yesterday from the indication you're giving us. Do we know if they are still alive?
They were not trapped. They were not trapped. But I'm sure they are alive. Even though I have not been there, I'm sure they are alive. And we are hoping that we'll get all of them alive because life is more important.
Okay. Well, as you make your way there, as and when you get there and you get further details, we'll get back to the DCE for Boise East, Madame Faustina Emisa. Well, one of the illegal miners spoke from underground and said some of his colleagues are unconscious as they've run out of food and water.
We went to the Angogo site to work, and the place we closed it up. So we are locked at the dam. We cannot get any place to access to come out. We have no access to come out. So especially the DC and the MC, they must come to our aid. Because you don't have any place to eat. You don't have nothing, nowhere. So that's why we went to that place to get taking money to look at our family, to pay some rent and light bill. That's why we went to that. You cannot use gun to go and collect some money. But get something to do to our family. That's why we come here to work.
Well, wife of one of the illegal miners in the shaft is appealing to Anglo Gold Ashanti to open the exit so that the miners can freely walk out.
Our family survive on this job my husband does. Where they were, the company does not work there anymore. That is around level 60, which has been abandoned. I've been trying to reach my husband, but his phone is off. They have become very weak due to hunger.
Well, so that's the wife of one of the illegal miners there. But my colleague, Kweku Asante, has been monitoring the situation also, joins us in studio. First, Anglo Gold Ashanti has just put out a statement. What are the updates they're offering?
They say that unauthorized persons underground are all able to exit on foot via the existing ramp through the main access of this mining area, and it has not been closed. Obuasi Gold Mines Management Team has notified the relevant authorities. Yesterday, some persons were arrested, and any unauthorized person underground is encouraged to leave the mine at any time by the exit points where public security personnel remain on standby.
Okay, well, so that's the statement from Anglo Gold. Well, still in the Ashanti region, the Asokore Mampon District Court has been greeted by a busload of the family of a 26-year-old mother of one who was allegedly shot multiple times and killed by her lover, a police inspector in Kumasi. The relatives claim they are in court to seek justice for their departed. They are dressed in red and black and clothing, some of which bears the slogan "Justice for Majua," amongst others. My colleague Ohiming Teria is monitoring that for us. We'll get back to him shortly on this. But let me take you to the Central Region. Time for our Drive Safe campaign.
Safe driving saves lives. Drive safe.
And 16 persons this morning were confirmed dead in a gory accident at Gomwa, Oyerko. 40 others were injured in the accident on the Kaswa Cape Coast Highway in the Central Region. The accident involved a petrol tanker traveling from Accra to Cape Coast and a U-turn bus from Liberia en route to Budumburam Camp. According to the Winneba Municipal Fire Service Commander, DO2 Kwesi Hughes, the severity of the accident led to a high number of casualties. But before that, we can listen to a survivor, Stephen Nyami, who spoke to our sister station at Doom TV, revealing that the tanker driver veered off from his lane and crashed into the U-turn bus.
Liberia neighbor yaba nche bedu libo anopa no na edile ya etube 10 ho je de ba yenimshi aba bedura wi je ti ya ne say ken na etimi say accident yasi je hwe na ta tanker car no afri ni kwam aba be crash e bus no on the mid side into that side one de nipa mo no de akonde mo nyina
Now we can hear from the Winneba Municipal Fire Service Commander DO2 Kwesi Hughes speaking to us earlier.
Two cars. One a U-turn bus from Abidjan to Liberia camp, and the other one was fuel tanker.
Well, thankfully, he joins us on the line. Thank you very much, Mr. Hughes, for joining us. So at the last count, please tell us how many casualties?
The casualties we had were in all 40. Were able to rescue 40 lives, and then 16 were taken to various mortuaries. And so that is the breakdown now. We are here to go to the hospital to visit, and so that is it.
And when exactly did this incident occur?
Okay, so it happened at Gomwa Ochrekon, just before the bridge, on your way from Accra, and on your way from Cape Coast, just after the bridge.
Wow, so 40, we are told, are injured in various situations. Do we know the extent of injury amongst others?
Yes. The extent of injury is very great. You know, when you have an accident where people have been dismembered and people are chopped into pieces, the injury, we have some who has had their legs chopped off, some their hands are chopped off, and all that. It's a very serious accident. And so, yeah, as we speak, my regional commander is here. We are from here. We'll go to the hospital to visit the injured ones to know how they are faring.
Is this an accident-prone area, you would say?
Yes, that the road, if you know, it has a long curve. It has a long curve, and so drivers do take a lot of risk there. People are saying that it has to do with spirituality or something, but I have a different opinion. It has to do with drivers' attitude, drivers' mentality. If the place is an accident-prone area, you can bear with me that it is not every car that gets an accident at that place. So if you know it's an accident-prone area, if you get there, do what is right. Just slow down. Just reduce your speed. Don't try to overtake. If you are driving tired, you just have to stop and rest. If you are a passenger and you are in the car and they are overspeeding with your life, you have to just protest, tell the police if you get to a barrier and all that. So it's just a collective effort that it's not about the place being an accident-prone area. We just have to do the right thing.
Okay.
And this thing will just. Yes,
and briefly, Mr. Hughes, before I let you off, we are told that the incident led to a huge traffic situation in the area. Have we been able to clear the traffic now?
Yes, we have been able to clear the road, pull both cars to a place of safety. So as I speak to you now, traffic is flowing uninterruptedly. Okay. So the traffic was built up for 4 hours now, and you know how busy this road is. So for the road to be blocked for 4 hours now, you know the extent of traffic. Okay. It was very heavy, very, very heavy.
We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the Fire Service Commander for Winneba, DO2 Kwesi Hughes there, speaking to us about that particular incident. 40 persons injured and 16 persons confirmed dead in that accident. From the Central Region, let me bring you back to the Greater Accra Region and to the court. And lecturer at the University of Ghana, a member of the NDC, Professor Michael Pesa-White, has been convicted of the offence of contempt of court by the Supreme Court. This was after he pleaded guilty to the charge leveled against him. Well, this case bordered on a series of tweets made by Professor White on May 19. He was asked to appear before the court to show cause why he should not be cited for contempt of court for scandalizing the apex court, bringing into ridicule the dignity, respect and stature of the Supreme Court and inciting prejudice against the Supreme Court. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable joins us on the line with more on this. Before we get into the details of this, Joseph, I'm told you've secured a document on the by-election that's impending at Asin North. Tell us more.
And so what we have indicates that the Clerk of Parliament has actually written to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. It's a letter dated 29th May 2023, and it indicates that it's titled Occurrence of Vacancy in the Membership of Parliament. In the exercise of the power conferred and the duty imposed on the Clerk to Parliament by Section 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Act 1996, Act 527, I, Cyril Kwabna Otin-Nsia, Clerk to Parliament, do hereby notify you of the occurrence of a vacancy in the Asin North constituency necessitated by the judgment of the Supreme Court dated 17th May 2023. And the rate number is also produced there in respect of James Jachikwesin in the case of Michael Ankoman Impact versus James Jachikwesin, the Electoral Commission of Ghana and Attorney General, and request you to take appropriate consequential action as required by law. And it's signed Cyril Kwabna Otin-Nsia, Clerk to Parliament. You recall a couple of days during the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee, Justice Jeffrey Tokono, it came up that the AG had actually written to Parliament, asking Parliament to take steps. This letter we've received is dated 29th May, communicating to the EC that a vacancy has occurred in Parliament.
Okay. Well, now let's get on to the substantive issue as well. We know that Professor White had issued an apology and indicated that he was not referring to Ghana's Supreme Court. Did he offer that explanation in court today?
No, MFR. In fact, when the charges were read against him, he initially pleaded not guilty. Then he later said guilty with explanation. At that point, the presiding judge, Mariam Owusu, asked him that his plea needs to be taken and stated clearly. Then at that point, he was asked again, then he replied guilty. And it was at that point that his lawyers started to make a case for the court to be merciful towards him. Dr. Justice Ramsai, who is his lead counsel, did indicate that even this morning, he had caused the publication in the Ghanaian Times, apologizing to the court, and had also issued a statement and deleted the comments that he made as well. And so he believed that it was important that the court would be merciful because of how he had conducted himself and demonstrated remorse after making those comments.
And then he was cautioned and discharged?
Yes, the court did explain that it had taken note of the apology and the remorse that had been given, but the point it made was that the Supreme Court and the court for that matter is the only institution in terms of the arms of government mandated to check the other arms. And so it is important that its integrity is kept intact at all times. And so for this reason that it balanced the fact that he had apologized and came to the conclusion that the punishment should be a caution, i.e. he should desist from such conduct and he being discharged.
That's a legal affairs correspondent Joseph Akable taking us to the election headquarters now. And Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has today officially entered the NPP presidential race as members of his camp picked nomination forms for him a while ago. That makes him the 6th aspirant after the former Greek minister Dr. Ifeyi Akoto, who picked forms yesterday since the party opened nominations. My colleague Samuel Imburu of our political desk has pitched camp at the NPP's Asylum Down headquarters and joins us live. Imburu, tell us about the team that picked the forms on behalf of the Vice President.
So the team from his campaign team was represented by Mr. Fred Owari, who is a former first vice national chairman of the party, and Samia Wuku, who is also a former youth organizer and now CEO for the National Lottery Authority.
Well, we came here to pick the forms for Dr. Bawumia. That assignment has been completed, and so we're going back to the office.
So what next? When officially are we going to hear you launch your campaign?
Well, the candidate himself would announce that.
So we know that as a vice president, people were expecting large crowd. Why is not the situation?
No, this is a private assignment. This is a private assignment.
When we are ready to communicate, we'll communicate.
What exactly will you be communicating?
When the forms are filled and being submitted.
So, Benny, that's how the situation here.
We have others also picking forms as well, Samuel.
Yeah, so the former Energy Minister, Boache Diako, was the first person to pick. We have the former General Secretary of NPP, Community Diako, former MP for Asante Mampong, Francis Adainimo, leading member and a two-time presidential aspirant, Dr. Kofi Konedu Apreku. And then yesterday was the former Greek Minister, Dr. Ifeyi Akoto. And today, the Vice President and Energy Analyst, Kojo Poku, were those who picked the forms today.
Well, it's been over a year, and I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all KMP fans who have supported me for over 1 year. Last year, February, it became public that I'm going to run as the flag bearer of this party. A lot of people thought that, look, he can't do it, he can't pick form, he will not last a year. We've done this, we've gone around the country twice. We went around all 16 regions the first time, then we've gone around all 16 regions to meet all constituency chairmen and all regional executives. I just came from the Northern region on Saturday. It is a wonderful news. And for me, I think that I came to pick the form to show that Kojo Poku is the leading candidate for this party.
Well, Imbura, do we have any indication as to when Alan Chemanting will be picking his forms as well? And I know you've been interacting with the Director of Elections.
Well, we've not gotten that signal yet when Alan Chemanting will be picking his his nomination forms. But in my interaction with the Director of Elections, Evans Nimako, he said that the party is still waiting for qualified party members to come and pick their forms. The 7 aspirants so far is not overwhelming for the party, and they are expecting a free and fair process for all candidates who have interest in the race.
I would say that it's been successful so far. We are expecting that those who intend coming will appear before the committee and procure their forms. Then we expect them to conduct a campaign that is civil, that is within the rules and regulations given out by the party.
Are you overwhelmed by the numbers so far, 7?
We're overwhelmed. The party is a vehicle that once you lead, you're becoming the president. And so well-meaning party members with the support base expressing their interest to participate will be given the opportunity to do so.
Director of Elections of the NPP, Evans Nimako, there, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM. And the Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. And 7 miners who were part of scores of illegal miners trapped in a shaft belonging to Anglo Gold's Obuasi mines, arrested by the police as Anglo Gold Ashanti refutes claims it has locked up all entry and exit points. We've been talking about our Drive Safe campaign where 16 persons have been confirmed dead on the Gumwa Oyerako Road and the Cape Coast Kaswa Highway. When we return from the break, we bring you sports and then how a comedian's decision to produce a skit ended up as a hit song with the possibility of featuring Shatta Wale.
I felt like I was doing a skit, something that I know enjoy, just to laugh. Charlie, we'll move on to the another one. When I did the pressure that was coming, say you. This is cameraman, take a picture now, Mr. Cameraman.
Thanks for sticking with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports. Fent.
That's right, and family members are waiting patiently because Black Stars coach Chris Hughton has selected a 24-man squad for the trip to Antananarivo on Sunday, June 18, to play Madagascar in an Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. Ali Desaido and Kwesi Ochirai make a return to the squad, while 19-year-old Noshala Nataka Enes Nuama ends his first senior national team call-up following eye-catching performances in the Danish Superliga. There's also a recall for Amiens defender Nicolas Opoku, Moldova-based Patrick Bozo, and Anderlecht midfielder Majid Ashimeru. No place, though, for Antoine Semenyo and Kamal Sowa. Kudus Mohammed, of course, of Ajax Amsterdam, is in the squad. There are rumours he might have played his last season for the Dutch side as big clubs around Europe circle for the 22-year-old signature. Liverpool is one of those clubs interested, but their former legend John Barnes wants Kudus to take his time in making any transfer decision.
You talk about him, and I give this advice to a lot of young players. I use myself as an example, and when I played, you had to show a level of consistency over a period of time before you were transferred. Because, of course, when you're transferred, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you. And unless you're able to handle that pressure, or you're able to show that you can do this for a long period of time, not just 5 or 6 matches, I advise every player to learn their trade, to be disciplined, to be humble, to stay at their club for a long period of time to show that they can do that. But football is different now anyway, so it's changed. And we see that all the time where a footballer has one good season and he gets transferred. So I know he has the potential. Apart from players now move much sooner than they possibly are ready to move, but he definitely has the potential to play at as high a level as any of the other Ghanaian players.
Don't rush the decision. That's the advice from Liverpool legend John Barnes and Mohamed Kudus.
Thank you very much, Fent. I know you've been doing work on some of our resource centres. Now, today, let's focus on Sekondi Sports Stadium in Esipong in the Western region. We're told that is rotting away after government assured that renovation works on the facility were at advanced stages of completion. My colleague Samuel Kujo-Brace has been to the facility and has come through with this report.
Mr. Speaker, some stadia across the country were renovated in 2021 and at various stages of completion as follows. Accra Sports Stadium, 98%, Phase 1 of Babayara Stadium, 98%, Esipon Stadium, 90% complete, Cape Coast Stadium, 60%.
That was Ghana's Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, presenting the 2021 budget statement on the floor of Parliament. 2 years after the pronouncement, I have come here today to see if anything has changed. What I see is nothing more than an eyesore. Outside, I noticed that some of the ceilings had completely been ripped off. The few pieces of wood and patches of ceiling that remain are falling off. The state of the restrooms is deteriorating. Nothing appeared to indicate a well-maintained stadium. To put it simply, the entire place is in shambles. Stephen Kwame Yeboah is a sports journalist here in the Western region.
Sometimes I feel like we have big men in the region. We have MPs, which to the best of my knowledge, they are very influential in government. We have chiefs here, but it seems nobody cares about what is really happening to this particular facility here at the Sekondi Sports Stadium.
Benjamin Abwaji is also a sports journalist with Sky Power FM in Takrady. He has been investigating why nothing seemed to be happening here.
Oh, what they told me was that the contractor left because money was not coming. You get that? And if the money is not coming as it is, you can't spend whilst it's not coming.
Now, a year after the Distraction for Gold documentary, illegal miners have taken over the river Tano in a renewed onslaught on the already polluted major water source, despite a recent crackdown on irresponsible mining close to Samraboy in the Western region. My colleague Erastus Asaridonko is back there a year after he exposed illegal activities polluting the river Tano. Here's his report.
Love News in 2022 captured Akunta Mining Limited and other illegal miners polluting the Tano River at Samraboy in the Western region. We uncovered irresponsible mining polluting the Tano at various points in communities like Atala, Ohiampenika, and Datano sections of the river. A year after producing the Distraction for Gold documentary, we went back to Samraboy to gauge the situation on the ground. Ofosua Sare Samuel is the assembly member for the Mumuni electoral area.
After your last documentary, those that they were in operation, they left the community or they left the site. They are no more here or destroying the land.
But our tour of the adjoining villages along the tunnel revealed disturbing pictures of direct active mining in the Tano River with residues directed into the tunnel. These Chinese miners were spotted at Boya, a farming community, driving the excavators and operating the mine themselves, contrary to mining regulations. This close to the airstrip at Samraboy, these two Chinese nationals were found operating this mine, which seems to be violating the government's buffer zone policy.
That's Erastus Osari Donko's reporting. Just before we go in showbiz, Ghanaian comedian SDK set out to produce a skit on how Amapiano songs are produced. This ended up becoming a hit song, and now he gets to feature Shatawale. Listen to him talk about the song on Daybreak Hits.
Cameraman, take a picture now, Mr. Cameraman.
It was some skit where it turned to be big, right?
Yeah, man. Me, I call a mistake, you know.
Big mistake.
Yeah, mistake it. But on planet, really overwhelming because I don't expect them. I was just doing a skit. I felt like I was doing a skit, something.
That's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Supreme Court cautions and discharges NDC Spencer White after convicting him for contempt. Also, Teshi residents demonstrate over poor roads. And then also, Otumfuo Distills chief of Asante region's famous Antwa town. That and more on myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. Many thanks for your